Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. If you've been watching the channel for the past few weeks, you'll probably know that I just released a brand new song with my good friend Sophie. Her real name's Sophia Tufa. She goes by Sophie. You might recognize her from songs such as Sophie Needs a Ladder or One Trick Pony with Deadmau5, or for her work with Motley Crue, Avril Lavigne, or Fall Out Boy. She's an incredible musician and an incredible collaborator. I'm so excited to have worked on this record with her and this music video with her. But today I have a very special announcement that lets you work with us as well. If you enjoy this video, consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive perks, including project file downloads, tools for your creative process, early access to videos, and more. Click on the card in the upper right-hand corner for more information. Today we are announcing that we are doing a remix competition for Revolver. The prize winner gets their remix officially released as part of an upcoming remix package. The stems and all of the details will be available beneath this video, as well as the submission link. We're also going to have a channel on Discord where you can discuss and share your remixes. The contest closes July 2nd, so make sure to download those stems and get to work. We're so excited to see what you guys come up with, and we're so hyped on this record. I wanted to take a minute today and dive inside of the song, show you how the song was made, and show you guys what you'll be getting when you download those stems. So let me go ahead and hop into Ableton Live and give you a little overview of the project file and what those stems entail. All right, so here we are in Ableton Live 11. This is the project file for Revolver. I'll give you a brief backstory on it. I actually started this record back in 2019 as an independent electro project. I had met Sophie at the time through a Deadmau5 event that we both played, and we connected immediately, and she sent me a bunch of top lines that she had written over the years that she never found use for. And she sent me this one for Revolver, and it immediately clicked to me that this was in the exact same key as this electro idea I was already working on. And the song idea, the electro idea I was working on, was already out of like that 2011 nostalgic kind of retro electro sound that we all know and love from Deadmau5 and Wolfgang Gartner and Zedd and Porter. Skrillex, the artist that Sophie came up with and collaborated with back in 2011. And I figured that it would be a perfect fit for this vocal. Just so happened to drop right in. The vocal worked perfectly with the idea I already had. It was in the perfect key, the perfect tempo, and the theme just fit. So we're going to take a quick look at the Revolver project file. Again, all of the stems for this project file will be available to download in the description below. You can remix the track and then submit your remixes for consideration for an official remix release for me and Sophie. Let's go ahead and check it out and see what we got going on here. So as usual, I have my arrangement clips up here. I'm not going to go too in depth on that. It's very self-explanatory. Just blank MIDI clips so that I can see where everything is, and it helps us have a visual guide as far as where things are. I actually did a whole video on this a little while ago. I'll link it in the upper right-hand corner right now. All right, so we have snare, kick. These are all things that are pretty straightforward. I'll give you a quick look at all of these if you want to take a look. I'm using a Matt Lang kick. Matt Lang is actually on my management team now. Funny story. So I guess he's getting his promotion here. Wolfgang Gartner snare, obviously very on brand for this record. The pattern is very simple. Kick, snare, basic progressive electro house kind of vibe. We have a reverse clap into that clap, which is basically, bog standard for this kind of electro house. And I'm going to go, track by track, clicking through here. You can pause the video and look at the processing on any of these tracks. Here's our kick. We have some high passing, so like when we get to sections that, you want to lose some of the low end for effect, we can do that here. I'll show you that here. And obviously, this is used on many elements in the song. It's a very tried and true method of creating tension in your record. Very basic kick pattern. Let's move on from there. We have a reverse kick, which is essentially a kick sample that's reversed into itself to give that sweeping sub bass movement. We'll take a quick look at this. Very cool effect when it snaps back in, especially on that second time. Right here. Actually, right here. Spinning you around, spinning you Straight quarter notes there, gives that really grimy electro feel. I was really inspired by our good friend Eddie, who actually just did a record of his own with SOFI. You can go check that out. I'll put that in the description as well. It's called Show and Tell. It's out now on Mousetrap. Great record. You should go stream that as well. So the second half drop was deeply inspired by Eddie. The first half was really a Julian Gray drop. A lot of cool melodic ideas, and that's where we'll move on from here. We have some stuff in between that. We'll get to that, but I'm going to jump right into the melodic ideas. I think this is where the Julian Gray really comes out, even in this electro sound. So here's our pluck. Really basic pattern here. We have an E chord with the octave E below it. Pretty self-explanatory, actually. I believe that's a suspended 2, playing in a dotted eighth rhythm. Let's open up Serum. I'll show you the patch. Very simple progressive pluck here. Nothing but a saw wave with a filter on it. Probably 4 clicks away from the stock. OTT, we'll show you that really quick. You can get an idea. Just gives it some crunch. Let's move on to the next thing. Again, another very simple sound. This is even more simple, I think. Saw wave with some unison and a filter. The delay is giving it a lot of cool feeling, and so is the pan. It's putting it in the stereo field a bit more. Got an OTT on here, again, for a little bit of energetic lift. Adds that high-end crunch. Love that. And again, we have some filter movement. So in parts of the song, we're trying to reduce the energy. We're pulling it down with a filter, and when we're pulling up the energy or we're adding tension, we're removing some low end. I'll show you that here. And doing that, creates this void in the low end that really feels fuller when you bring the low end back. I love doing this effect. It's something that DJs do a lot on the dance floor when you remove or filter the bottom out of a song and then bring it back. It's like the most satisfying thing. You can have like a basic house loop that's playing, and then you pull the bass out, bring it back in, 8 bars later, it'll feel like a drop. All right, more melodic stuff. Here's the pads. These are used in the breakdown. Actually, this is actually used in the turnaround in the drop. I'll show you this in context. Dance to her sound, spinning you around, twist it upside down. Hey, hey, hey. So I add this melodic layer underneath to kind of give it a nice turnaround. It's very reminiscent of 2011. Deadmau5 used to do this a lot. Notably, I'm thinking of Professional Griefers. He does like a B section to the chorus, and it has that really cool backing melodic idea pad. This is the breakdown pad I was looking for. Quick sound design check. Very simple. LFO on the fine tune. Getting some lift on the filter here. That's it. Some reverb. Again, my stuff is pretty straightforward, I think. I think what really makes it shine is the writing. The mixing and the processing and all of that is pretty straightforward, but this video will give you a look at everything inside. If you want a more in-depth look at one of my older projects, I used to make these inside the project videos extremely long, but then I found it was very redundant. I cover the same thing in every video, so check out one of my earlier projects, maybe like Cold Outside or something, and you'll get an even more in-depth look. Here is that turnaround pad. I don't think I showed you the sound design. Again, very simple. I think 90% of the sound design of this song is really a saw wave with a filter on it. I think that's inherent to like the progressive electro, complextro, whatever you want to call the 2012 progressive house genre. Here's another pad. We have this suspended bass. This is to add that tension in the chorus. I'm sorry, in the verse. Just adds like a pedaled note there. Super cool. Pedal tone, I guess you'd call it. We have a layer. This is by Bad Eye. I believe I might have gotten this from one of the packs that Immersive put out. I could not tell you, though. He's a great producer, though. Go check him out. Bad Eye. grabbed some reverb, some delay, did some panning on it so it has some stereo effects, then we really hardly sidechained it. Hard sidechained it, not hardly. Okay, let's get into the leads. These are where it gets really interesting. How much you want to bet it's a saw wave with a filter? I won the bet. Okay, so 2 saw waves. This one's up a 5th. That's what's creating that really cool tone. Very 90s reminiscent. Going for that retro feeling lately. I don't know what it is about it, but I love that 80s, 90s synth sound. So we have 2 saw waves with a cutoff filter and a little bit of pitch modulation on each of them to give a little bit of wavering. Some reverb, delay, EQ, compression, sidechain. Basically the same thing for all of these. Here's a vocal called Vox Chops. Vox short for vocals. Let's go ahead and check this out. So that's what's creating that tension in the background. Creates this really cool atmospheric effect. Check it out. I feel as though if you weren't listening closely for it, you wouldn't hear it, but it fills up the background of the record so much, and I love how it fills out the emptiness of the record. And you hear it a little bit reverberated, a little bit more reverberated, I should say, in the breakdowns here. It's also a different note. So I'm using this awesome plugin by Slate to create that fresh air sound. If I A/B this on and off, you can hear what it does. It's basically adding high harmonics and sharpness in the top end. Indisposable plugin for me. It's one of my favorites. So one of the things about sound design is that you really can't invent high end out of a sound that doesn't have it. If you have a sample that really lacks anything above a certain frequency, there's no way to generate that stuff. You can add distortion, I guess, and fake it, but this plugin does an excellent job of faking it without it sounding completely ruined, without it sounding completely destroyed with distortion. It just sounds like you're adding clarity back in. It's almost as though like you're coming out of the water from being underwater and having mud in your ears. So love that plugin. I also use OTT to the same effect. Just a little bit of high boost and like a 60% depth really gives like a nice crunchiness to the song. Here's the counter melody you've all been waiting for. This might be one of the only sounds in the record that's not a square wave or a saw wave, in that it is a square wave with a single voice. Very simple sound design. I think that's inherent to the genre. A little bit of reverb, Valhalla Room on there as well. Here, check that out. Keeping it pretty dry, and again, hard sidechain. Go ahead and take a look at the vocals. This is the fun part. So this vocal was actually a track that Sophie did many, many years ago with a very famous producer that I won't reveal, and the song never came to be, so she ended up recycling the top line into this song. And here we are with this brand new Julian Gray and Sophie song. Sounds like 2011. It was recorded around that time, and I think it couldn't be more fitting. Here you go. You can hear the entire vocal in the stem download in the description below. Make sure to go grab it for yourself and play with these stems. They're a lot of fun. I remember the first time I got these stems from Sophie, a little bit of fangirling, because obviously I'm working with Sophie Needs a Ladder, Sophie. It was one of my favorite songs when I was younger. So this is cool.
Say hey her, apology and sorry excuse. I know her next move. Deliciously seductive.
So again, a little bit of fresh air on here for some high end. We got some reverb. I'm using Ozone 9 Dynamics to control the plosives a bit. This is acting as a bit of a de-esser, if you will. Now, this vocal needed so much work because it was recorded to another song. There's a hint of the other song in these big chorus sections, so I really had to do a decent amount of work to get it to here. Actually, this is not the first version of this. I wish I could play you the first version, but I'd rather not. So check out the chorus.
She's got you spinning round, round, spinning you around, round, spinning you around.
They're pretty cool. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of fun messing with this stem in particular. Probably 80% of you guys that download the stems will only use this stem. I'm not offended. I know it's a pretty cool opportunity to work with SOFI, and I'm sure that a lot of you will love that. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the melodic ideas. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the bass sound design. I'm sure that a lot of you are interested in this too. It's one of the more interesting things of this record for sure. We have several layers to this bass. What I'll do is I'll actually go level by level and show you what each of these sound like. So first and foremost, listen to the entire thing together. Okay, this first layer is an FM bass. I'll show you the sound design for it. I've been thinking about putting together some sound packs for Serum, so if you guys want a sound design pack from Julian Gray, let me know in the comment section, and maybe we'll make that happen soon. I've been thinking about doing it. But here we are. So we have a -1 octave saw wave with a FM'd saw wave to that with some unison, gives some stereo width, but we're doing it on the higher octave so it's not as muddy down there at -1. Very like No Mana type sound, kind of inspired by him. Sine shaper, distortion. Speaking of No Mana, if you're interested in some of his wacko mastering techniques, he actually inspired a recent video I just did on the channel about mastering without a limiter, actually using the built-in clipper of Ableton as your limiter, essentially clipping your master to get a cleaner master. Sounds crazy, kind of works. You can check out the link to that in the upper right-hand corner right now and check out my video on mastering with the clipper. All right, next layer is this guy. Let's go ahead and check this out. That's definitely the beef of the record. Let's go ahead and solo this first layer here. Here we are. So unfortunately, between when I started this record and when I finished it, Camel Crusher became incompatible with my machine. So I can no longer actually access this sound, but I'm using Camel Crusher on here. That's why this is frozen, and all of the rest of the sound design is up here. I have a mid-side EQ kind of boosting the lower mids. I would say actually bass. That's full on lows, I think, at 90 hertz. On the sides, I'm actually just reducing the lows so that the sub is centered in the center. Adding a little bit of high end for some grit, adding some low end so that the high end doesn't throw off the balance as much. I could have just probably pulled some out of here and it would have been effectively the same, but easier this way. Some high pass, low pass for the same reason as all of the others. I'm high passing when I want to create tension, low passing when I'm trying to reduce tension. You know what, just for fun, I'm gonna unfreeze this and show you what it sounds like without Camel Crusher, and I'll show you the sound design. Similar thing, we have a saw wave and a sine wave that's FM'd against it, and this is what it sounds like. Kind of cool when we get that FM changing, but nowhere near as cool as with the Camel Crusher. Wish the plugin still worked on the new modern Mac OS. Sounds sick. You Windows guys are lucky for that. Here's the second layer. This is the rhythm guitar layer. Kind of professional griefers-esque. I kind of really led into that, or leaned into that inspiration. Similar vibe here. I'll unfreeze it so you can see just for fun, but it's not the same without the distortion. You know, that one's actually remarkably similar. So we're FMing from A. A is actually disabled. We have a distortion on it. You can steal my plugin preset if you want. Now you've seen every frame. All right, refreeze that. I have a little bit of movement on the FM. That's just creating that cool like. Then we have a note change there towards the end. And then let's check out this one last layer, and then I'll show you the musical stuff with the bass. It's pretty cool, actually. So this is basically just sub. And this is actually funny as well. RBass Stereo is a Waves plugin. As you know, Waves you have to buy every update. And when I got my new Mac, which is the M1 MacBook Pro with obviously the M1 Apple Silicon chip, it's no longer an Intel processor, so I had to run all of my plugins in Rosetta mode, meaning that I have to run the Intel version of the plugins. The problem is, Waves doesn't actually let you do that. It knows that we're running on a Apple Silicon machine. It's like If you're running this on an Apple Silicon machine, you need to be running the Apple Silicon version. The only problem is that they charge you for the upgrade. And I refuse to pay for a plugin that worked fine on my Intel machine just because I'm running an Apple Silicon machine. It could very easily work through Rosetta just like every other plugin that does. I don't know why Waves has to do that. But anyway, I froze it on my Mac Mini, and we're running it on Frozen Channel. I'll go ahead and unfreeze it so you can see what the sound design is like, but yeah, it's really not that special. Sine wave. The R bass is adding a lot of cool harmonics in the mids. So it's creating that, like, the depth of that sub. All right, we have this faller sound here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look. Just a quick little falling. I believe it's actually done with a pitch bend. Yep, pitch bend. And if we look at the sound design in Serum, you can see that reflected here. Octave up 12 and down 12, and when the pitch bend goes, it goes from plus 12 to negative 12 semitones, effectively a 2-octave drop. Cool, that's that. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the music, and then I think we'll wrap this thing up. So as you can see, the bass follows the same pattern. It's like a more or less a quarter note pattern, almost like Deadmau5's Maths. With the exception of, the high-end FM1 doing like the offbeats. But a really cool thing happens at the end of every, I guess that's 8 bars. Maybe it's 16 bars. We do this actual turnaround thing, and we actually looked at, this in our pad as well. But again, it's referential to that old 2011 type music that has that musical turnaround to an otherwise non-musical drop. So here we go. Let's go ahead and check this out. And you can see that in the bass line as well. There, we're going up notes. It's climbing. It's dun 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 dun, and then back to the dun, like the root note. So nice. Love that. It's one of my favorite parts of the song. I'll play you it in context, and then I think we'll wrap this thing up. Yeah, so that is the Inside the Project look at Revolver, my brand new song with Sophia Tufa, also known as Sophie. She definitely needs a ladder. Go and download the stems for yourself in the description of this video, and I cannot wait to hear your remixes. Make sure to post them, or maybe even works of progress of them, in the designated Discord channel as you work on it. I'm sure the community would love to hear it. If you want to join my Discord and you haven't already, it's discord.gg/Julian Gray. I'll put the link on the screen right now so you can. Again, go download those stems, send us your updates in the Discord, and then get your submissions in by July 2nd so that we can consider it for an official release on Gradient. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this project file overview, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Go stream Revolver. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.